Hello, hello. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. My name is Agnes van Rijn. I am Freedom Lifestyle Business Designer at agnesvanrijn.com. Today, it is my pleasure to welcome Desha Peacock. Is it Peacock or Peacock?
Peacock.
Peacock. Yes, Peacock. Sorry for that. Desha is published author, lifestyle coach, and retreat leader. With a background in career development and intuitive sense of style, Desha helps creative entrepreneurial women create their sweet spot in the home and at work. Her first book, Create the Style You Crave, was listed as one of the best books to buy your girlfriend in the HuffPost. It sold out in less than 20 days. She's been quoted in the Huffington Post, yahoonews.com, Career Rookie, US News Money, and has made radio and TV appearances across the nation. Desha, welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is really fun.
So pleased to have you. You were one of the first people that I met with, I was going to say live, virtually, when I started being more active in the virtual Facebook world, and I've really enjoyed meeting you. So I'm glad that you are the first person to be invited in the new version of the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, because you may not know, but it used to be a radio show, and I've decided to move to video. So I'm thrilled to have you in the new version.
Well, I love video, so that's awesome.
So tell me about your journey. Tell me a bit, your background, etc., so that the listeners can have a better feel for who you are.
Well, let's see. Where should I start? I think that I've always had this question of what should I be doing with my life? What's my higher purpose? How can I have work that's meaningful and fulfilling, creative, and make money? And it was a long struggle for me. I've had over 40 jobs, and I just turned 40, and I've had 40 jobs. So that tells you that I hadn't had a lot of jobs for very long, because I would get physically ill. I would get pain in my body and my shoulders and my head, and I was just struggling because I just couldn't figure out what I was supposed to do. So my mom would send me, what's the color of your parachute? And I would talk to all kinds of people, and I even thought at one point, like, something's wrong with me. I can't work 40 hours. But it was just that I wasn't finding the right thing. And so, you know how synchronicity and God and the universe works. Mm-hmm. I fell into this position as a career counselor at a liberal arts college. And I did that job for 4 years because it fit my lifestyle. I created it using intention according to my lifestyle, so that I had part-time work. I had 2 months off. It was very flexible for my child. But through those 4 years of teaching students how to get their dream job, I started to see results. I started to see them graduate and get amazing jobs. I saw them get scholarships, internships, their dream internships. And I realized, wow, this advice that I'm giving really works, and I should take it myself. And I actually went to see a psychic, and for career training. It was actually like not
that's
really
funny.
It was sort of like a feng shui your career. And I worked at this very liberal arts college, and I thought maybe they'll pay for me to do this training, which they did, which I was going to use for my students. But turns out in that meeting, it came out that I should start a TV show.
Wow.
And I live in Vermont, and it's a small town. And so, I was like, all those excuses that come up. Well, I was in my 30s, and I was like, I'm too old. I don't have the experience. I don't want to do it unless it can be in Hollywood or New York. But, in the end, I was like, well, I'm telling right? Like, I have to start off famous if I'm going to do this. But, I thought, well, I'm telling my students, if they're interested in something, that they should go and explore it. Mm-hmm. And that's work for them. So, you know what? I have to suck up the ego, and I have to just go out and do this and try it. And I decided to interview people who were in their sweet spot, people who were doing work they love and making money at it, which is another thing I told my students. I said, go and find people who are doing what you want to do and learn how they do it. So I was kind of doing 2 things at once. I was pushing myself, letting go of the ego, and I was meeting and interacting with people who I admired and who were doing things that I wanted to do. And because of that experience, it changed the course of my life, basically. So I started the show, I started blogging, and long story short, I ended up getting a book deal. I wrote this book, I quit my job, and I started a lifestyle design coaching business. Now I'm a retreat leader, and I just cannot imagine doing anything that would give me more joy than what I'm doing right now. And it's a miracle because I just didn't know if it was ever going to happen for me. And I just couldn't, I could never have made this up, what I'm doing right now. So that's my story.
Wow, it's fascinating. I really love it. So how long ago was that?
Well, let's see. I'm in my 14th month of business. So when I started the TV show, that was about 3.5 years ago. And I kept my job at the college, and I did the TV show on the side, and I did the blog on the side. And I was also, have a young child, and I ended up being the director of that department. So it was a lot, but I just, I couldn't quit my job because I was still in that exploration phase. I wasn't making money. And even it came to a point where I was so busy, and I was like, wow, I don't know how long I can take this, because it's like working 2 full-time jobs. And it came to the point where I had to decide which one I was going to take. Yeah. But I did kind of have to do both for about a year, because I knew that while I was writing my book, it was a published book, and it's a design book with 250 pictures and multiple photographers and the whole design phase and all that. That took almost a year.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting, I got an advance, but I wasn't getting paid a salary at that point. So I stuck with my job for a full year before I quit my job and transitioned into what I'm doing full-time for myself now.
Yeah, I remember that it took me 2 years to transition. I started my business in parallel of my job, and then the next year I went part-time, and then only did I dare and just quit my job. Yes, it's quite challenging. Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah,
I can imagine. So in that process, talking about challenges, what have been the challenges that you have been facing?
Well, one thing that I didn't quite understand, because I had taken I was reading up on online business and marketing, and I took some courses on that, and everybody made it seem like you just follow this process and you'll be successful.
Of course.
Just do it. Pay for my course or hire me and do exactly what I say, and you will be successful. And I started to do that, and I wasn't making money. It looked like I was successful because I was doing all kinds of stuff. I was extremely busy. I felt like I was doing everything that they said, but I wasn't making money, and I was struggling with that. And I had convinced myself and my husband that, I'm going to make double what I made my first year from college. And so financially, it was a struggle, and actually I'm still learning about this. I'm like, every month I'm sort of like, okay, I still don't have to go and get a job, the worst thing in the world. But I think part of it is just having faith. It is taking inspired action, but it's also trying to just figure out what works for you, because it may not be this exact formula. And that's what I'm learning. I'm still learning, that you just have to take action. And then if the action isn't working, then you may have to tweak it over and over and over again.
So you have, a family life, of course. You have your, I was going to say job. I don't mean job, your business, of course. What does an average day look like for you?
Well, you see, I quit my job because I didn't want to have an average day. I don't like a schedule. I don't like to be in a routine. And my personality type I'm very curious, and I need projects. And so it's different really all the time. But, basically every day I wake up, I take my daughter to school. We live close to the school. So that was part of my lifestyle choices. I wanted to be able to take my daughter to school and pick her up. So it basically, in that time, I'm home alone, which is awesome. I have my home office, and I have 6 hours during that time. So during that time, maybe I'm writing a blog, I'm working with my clients, I'm writing my client notes, I'm marketing or promoting my next thing. I'm designing content for my new e-course. I'm doing videos. I'm doing interviews like this. And sometimes, but sometimes there's other stuff in your day that you have to do, like figure out what your family's going to eat for dinner that night and go to the grocery store and
welcome to the normal life.
Yeah, call the doctor to make the appointment for your husband because he can't, because you're the one at home. And a lot of these responsibilities, fall on you when you're at home, even though you're working. So my day is a mix of all of those things. And sometimes, honestly, I like to work really late at night. So when I pick my daughter up, that's it. I'm with my daughter. Then it's dinner time. Then it's bedtime. So pretty much, that part of the day is gone. But then when everybody's in bed, for some reason, I kind of wake up. And I often work really late, sometimes until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And when I do that, I just feel like everything's quiet. There's dark. There's no distractions. I can't do laundry, or I can't do anything that's noisy.
Yeah.
So I just feel more focused. But then sometimes I'm really sleepy the next day. So I'll take a nap, or else I'll drop my daughter off and I'll come back and I'll go to bed. And that's really I've never been much of a morning person. And sometimes I just remember having to wake up and go to work and just being like, I'm tired. I don't want to go to work. I just want to go to sleep. Why can't I just go back to sleep? And so I'm like, hey, I have the choice. This is what I created my business and life for. If I want to come home and go back to sleep, fine. And I'm not even going to feel guilty about it.
It's funny because I see the parallel with what I'm doing, except that I'm a morning person. So I can very easily get up at 5:30. And then for exactly the reasons you describe, I love it because it's quiet. I cannot make any noise, etc. So it's the reverse. And then, of course, for the same reasons, not enough sleep. In the course of the day, I at some point will be tired. I'm very good at power naps. So whenever it happens that I feel like, I just go and have a 20 minutes nap and that's it. So it's funny that we do the same, but in the opposite directions.
Yeah, and I think that's the whole beauty of, creating a business and a lifestyle.
Exactly.
That you love, right? Because what's the point if you're kind of going through the same struggles you were going through before?
Yeah, exactly.
You're happy in the same way, because I have had that feeling of like, oh my gosh, I should be doing this. I should get up. I should. And I was like, no, that's not the whole reason I'm staying home is so that I can do what I want.
It's funny because hearing you, I had not, I know of course, but I had not realized that I'm starting the show again with you as a first guest, where we are both concentrating on freedom lifestyle, in fact. So our focus is the same for very similar reasons. And for me, it's the notion freedom is really about everything about freedom of choice, in fact. So that's exactly what you're describing. Yeah. So let's come back to you more specifically and what you're doing. Who is your ideal client? Who are you working with?
Oh, man, I just had one of my best ideal clients yesterday. So this has also been a thing. And I don't know if you mind if I talk a little bit about money mindset. But
yeah, that's fine.
I think that I tend to naturally attract to me people who have this sort of talent or skill, but they're not quite acknowledging it in their life. So, for example, somebody who might be an amazing artist, but they're doing their work in secret. They're not sharing it. It's their passion, but they have fear around it, low self-confidence, and they're working, as a dishwasher or something. And I'll find out, and I'll be like, oh, I want to help them. I want to show the possibility, I want them to get their art out in the world. And it's almost like this little bit of a martyr kind of thing of like, let me help you. But sometimes those people don't want help because they're perfectly happy to do that.
Yeah.
And they can't really pay me. And so I feel like I've attracted that. And then I realized there was this thought in my mind that said, well, if they have money, they don't need you. They don't need your help. And so it's taken me a while to work with enough clients to realize that, oh yeah, actually, just because you have money, this was a limiting belief I had, it doesn't mean that you don't need help. Lots of people need help in lots of different areas.
Absolutely.
And so I realized I was limiting myself with that. And now that I've sort of busted through that, I have been meeting my ideal clients my ideal client basically is a solopreneur. It's a female. It's a woman who is creative and passionate. She's multi-passionate. She often has lots and lots of ideas, but she can't get focused. She doesn't have clarity. So she's in what I call brain fog, and she's not making progress.
Mm-hmm.
So she starts one project. She gets excited about one project. She starts it. Then something else glitzier comes along. She does that. And then so because she doesn't finish anything, she starts to feel kind of like a loser, kind of like, I'm not capable of doing this. And so then that becomes the story. And it's funny because I'm noticing that several of them also have kind of these health problems around fibromyalgia. What's the other one? Fibromyalgia. I can't remember, but those kind of problems where it's like joint pain and headache pain, and often has to do with mindset and maybe slight depression and that kind of thing. And mostly it's because they're just not living in their purpose. They're not finding work that's meaningful. And so that's my ideal client. And my ideal client is ready to go. My ideal client is like, I've done so much stuff. They're smart, they're ambitious, they're talented, and they really just need somebody to help them verbally process what it is that they want to do. And oftentimes, like I'll ask them, so what is it that you want to do? And the first thing they say is, I have no idea, I don't know. But as I keep asking them, it pours out, and it's so clear to me, but it's not clear to them.
Yeah.
So it's about, pulling out what's already inside of them and processing it with them and reflecting back what they're saying to me so that they see it themselves.
Yeah, the mirror.
Yeah. The mirror, and then making a very specific action plan to get to where they want to be. And it's a miracle. I mean, it's amazing. It's miraculous because once they start taking action, it just
happen.
It comes to them much easier and faster. And it gives me so much joy to witness that.
Yeah, I can imagine. Absolutely. Yeah, I have the same. So how long do you work with them on average?
Well, I have I just launched my program called Sweet Spot Style Your Business or Sweet Spot Style Your Biz. And so that program is a 7-week program. It's a group coaching program online. And then you can VIP your biz, and you can work with me one-on-one as another option to that program. And that's 3 months of one-on-one work.
Okay, so 3 months, yeah. Okay.
And I do retreats.
And perfect transition, because I was going to ask you, and tell me more about your retreats.
Yeah, well, you know how you have all these life experiences, and I actually went to grad school and studied international education and intercultural facilitation. And I always thought that was going to be my field because I love international travel. But I don't actually like to sit in an office. And so I was finding these jobs in international education where I was designing these beautiful trips for other people while I was sitting in the office booking their airfare and finding cool stuff for them to do. And I was like, wait a minute, this is not what I'm on the opposite end here. So with the retreats, I just did my first international retreat to San Miguel de Allende, Mexico in February, and I'm going to make it an annual thing. So I'm going to go every February with a very small group of women, like I described to you. And it is transformational. It's amazing. It pulls together every single thing that I love because it's really focused on upgrading your lifestyle. So I put people in this almost fantasy world of a just gorgeous, gorgeous city full of art and creativity and just good energy.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures. Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, the city's gorgeous. And then we find the most beautiful place to stay. So it's gorgeous. And, most of the meals are taken care of. But it's different because there's a lot of free time involved, because I personally don't want to go somewhere in a beautiful place and just be like meeting. So we do fun stuff together, and we go to galleries and we go to the hot springs, and then they have a whole day off. We do our workshops, we do one-on-ones, and we make a plan.
How long is the workshop?
The retreat?
The retreat, sorry, yeah. How long?
The retreat is 6 days. It's
Okay.
5 nights and 6 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a survey, and I asked my audience, my clients, and my list, what kind of trip do you want and how long? And that's what they said. So I actually go, always before. So this year I went a whole week before with my family.
With your family, I remember, seeing that. Yeah, that was
like a week. That's not enough for me. So I stayed a week before and a couple days after.
Super. So let's come back to the challenges you have faced to set up your business, what you are still facing, etc.
Yeah.
If the idea with this show is to inspire women to dare and live their dream, what are specific tips that you would want to share with them?
Well, I would say before, if you have a job right now and you're thinking of quitting your job to start a new business, I would say do a lot of research and talk to entrepreneurs one-on-one. Don't believe everything you hear online about how I quit my job and in 2 months I made 6 figures, because you don't know behind the scenes how much they spent, if they had family giving them money or whatever. So talk to real people. Like, you can talk to me, talk to you, and just ask us. And most people are pretty honest and open if they're good people, and will tell you the truth. So just try to figure out, what is it really going to take? What kind of money do you need to invest in your business? And have that cushion, because you really do need to have a little bit of money to start a business. Don't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I knew that I'd probably have to hire a web designer, and I did. And but I didn't really know that I was going to need to spend money on Facebook ads. I mean, you don't have to do these things. This is what I found, that to get clients, I have to market, and usually it either takes a lot of time, or it takes money, or it takes both. So just be prepared for that, having a cushion can help you not feel stressed, because if you're stressed and have anxiety around money, it's hard to attract
that's very difficult.
your client. So keep that in mind. And then, I think the other thing is to have a support group. Like, we have our Facebook support group, and we have each other. And when things get rough, we can go to each other and we can say, oh my gosh, I had a hard day. Like, I had this difficult experience. And having somebody around who has gone through that, or who is also going through that.
Yeah, like-minded people is really, really, really important.
It's really vital. And another challenge that I didn't mention was just that my husband is a school teacher. He has no desire to be an entrepreneur. He doesn't understand what I'm doing at all. And he's not that interested. And he loves me, but he's just not that interested. He comes from like an Army background and an IRS background. It's very black and white. It's not dreamy. And so, if you have a situation where you're not receiving support from your immediate family,
you need to know to go somewhere. You need to have that place. Yes, absolutely.
You need that support, because if you're working from home, and regardless, if you have your own business, you need support.
Absolutely. So, talking about support, how quickly? Because it was funny. I had this discussion this morning. I was referring to it on the webinar that I had for my bootcamp this morning. This notion of investing in yourself, where when you start, you have this tricky game of saying, I cannot invest in myself because I don't have money. I will invest in myself when I have money, except that it should be the reverse situation. By investing in yourself, you will accelerate the money coming in. So how did you handle that aspect?
Well, I think anybody who wants to start a business or has a business, there's a certain level of risk, and you have to be comfortable with a certain amount of risk. So in the very beginning, when I decided to start my business, I wanted to take an online program that cost $2,000. And I told my husband, I'm going to spend $2,000 on this online marketing program. And he said, well, why are you going to do that? And I said, so that I can be prepared to quit my job. And I need this training. I need to invest in myself. I need to learn how to do this before I quit my job. And I need to spend this money. And $2,000, that's a little bit of an investment, at the beginning. And I swear he said these words: we are going to lose everything.
Wow.
We're going to lose everything.
Goosebumps.
And first of all, I was like, wow.
That's great support.
Wow, you suck. Thanks so much for believing in me. And two, wow, what a different mindset. And you know, but again, I understand that even though I'm a part of a relationship and a partnership, that in the end, I have to take responsibility for creating my own reality.
I agree.
And so, you know what? I took out my credit card and I went ahead and I charged that $2,000. And then I just opened up my heart and I said, you know, universe, please take care of me. I just know this is the thing that I need to do right now to move myself forward. And please help me figure out how to pay this back fast. And you know, within 24 hours, or maybe it was 48 hours, it was over the weekend, that I became an affiliate of that program. And because I was so excited about it and I was telling everybody that I was going to do it, people came to me and they started asking me about the program. And because I was an affiliate, they signed up through me.
I love it.
I paid that back. I paid that $2,000 back.
Excellent.
Within 48 hours. And that's happened to me over and over again. You know, there's a coach that we both know, that we love, that charged $500 an hour. And that I've never paid that much for anything ever. You know, $500 an hour, not even a lawyer, you know. So, but I just felt like I needed to hire her. I knew what she had to offer. And again, I don't recommend charging everything, but at the time I pulled out my credit card again. I just felt it was the right thing to do. I invested in myself. She helped me. And that one was more of an energetic thing, because I think as a life coach, you have to spend money on other life coaches that are high end. If you want to be a high end coach, you have to experience what it's like to pay that. Because I had that limiting belief of who's going to pay me. So I had to pay someone that much so that I could understand that even people like me will pay that for something they really want and need.
It's an exchange of energy also.
It is. And the same thing happened. The very next day, I woke up and I had $1,000 in my PayPal account because 2 people had signed up for my retreat and they hadn't signed up. I had promoted it for a week with nothing. And I was like, well, I guess this just isn't going to work. I'm sad. I really wanted to do this. Hired her that night at 10 o'clock. The very next morning, 2 people had signed up overnight. $1,000 deposit. So, you know.
Great. Well, so the very clear thing also that I hear with you is that you really follow your gut feeling. You have a very strong intuition and a lot of faith as well. I mean, people who, it's not just because it happens like that. There is a mindset behind it that makes all of a difference as well. Because now, of course, listening to you, everyone will think that they just can invest. The next morning they will have everything in their bank account. It's not that simple.
That's true. And I've been practicing this for 10 years. So, I mean, I consider myself almost like a money manifester, and I get what I want and I practice that, but it wasn't always the case, you know. And I come from a very Christian background. My mom's a Christian, and and sometimes, you know, we get into this discussion because I call it manifesting and she calls it prayer. And, you know, that's a whole discussion. But I remember asking her, you know, like, how do you have faith? How do you have faith? And she said, I practice and it works. That's how I have faith. And so that's what I do even with my business. I mean, my business, it's just such a spiritual thing to me because I'm practicing what I'm preaching in my own life through my business. I put it out there. I have faith, and I have this whole system of intention and manifesting. And I do believe,
sorry, excuse me. So what do you recommend for people to get started on that topic?
Well, I would say if you're brand new to manifesting an intention, that you just start small. So don't go off and charge $2,000 on your credit card if you've never done it before. Come up with something really like a small little thing to build your faith. So, for example, like, just pick something that you want. Say that you want a new blazer. Then start imagining that blazer, start asking for that blazer in your mind, and then take action and go out and look for it a little bit and see if it comes up, and see, maybe it'll come to you for free. So that's the kind of thing. Just play it small. You know, like maybe you're a life coach and you just want You want 5 new clients and you want to manifest that right away. Well, start with something you can believe. So maybe just start with trying to get 1.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about setting the intention, but it's also about inspired action. So you're not just sitting there on your couch meditating on it. You're like consciously asking for it and consciously visualizing it, and also taking inspired action. So doing the work. So that combination, that's a powerful combination.
It's interesting because I wasn't expecting that type of tip, but I love it. It's really, it's really something. Well, we both are in that type of world anyway. So, yeah. Anything else that you would want to add? What did you find maybe most difficult, and what did you find the easiest, for instance?
Well, I think that I'm not sure what I found the most difficult or the easiest. It's such a roller coaster, honestly. Like it's a roller coaster of emotions, I think, when you start your business. There's a lot of ups and there's a lot of downs. And I think that it's just that you have to stick with it. You know, if you really believe in what you want to do, I think the person who sticks in the game the longest wins.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's tricky because you have to look at the signs, and I think you do have to use your gut and your intuition. Because sometimes it gets to a certain point and you feel like I need to quit. And do you need to quit because you're scared, or it's just a bad business model? So I think that's where it comes in handy to talk to somebody who's more experienced.
Yeah. Not always easy to find where it comes from. Huh? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, well, is this happening because I need to shift my business or shift my mindset? And I think that's where having that one-on-one personal help or group help is so important, you know, and I've had that, and I have that in my life. And I mean, there's been times when I've been like, wow, I just don't know how this is going to work. I'm going to have to go get a job. And my mentor was like, oh no, you are not getting your job. You are doing exactly what you need to do, and it's about to come. And then it would come, and then it's coming, and it came, it's here, you know? So it's like, every time I feel that low point, you know, having that support to help me, I would say, you know, find that support and don't give up. You can't give up. You might have to get a part-time job if finances are difficult. You know, you may have to supplement your income, but it doesn't mean you have to quit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Still do it. You know, so
don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up.
I remember this. What is she? It's you would call it a sailor, I think, in English. It's a French woman. Maud de Fontenoy, who did the world tour overseas, but reversed, in the reverse direction. I don't know exactly. But when she arrived, I remember that one of the reporters said to her, what do you want to say to the public? And she said, don't let anyone ever tell you that your dream is not possible. And I love that. I really love that. That energy that she put in there. It was so inspiring. Yeah. You have to believe in your dream. Absolutely.
You do have to believe in your dream. You have to be strong in your dream. And I agree with that. You know, there's so many people and culture and family, and you know that they want you to be safe, they want you to be happy, and that doesn't often go with entrepreneurship and creativity. So if nobody else believes in you, at least you have to believe in yourself and just go for it.
Absolutely. What a beautiful way to close this interview. Desha, I really have enjoyed having you. I love your enthusiasm. You're a shining person. It's really lovely. I'm going to give some additional news to our listeners. So our next guest will be on May 4th. Well, you know her. She's the amazing Star Monroe, owner, as you say, owner of Shine with Star, the private finishing school for women. I also want to let you know that the doors have opened for registration to my Successful Women Academy Bootcamp, which is a one-of-a-kind, holistic, very comprehensive and transformational program that works on both your life and your business. It's a 20-week program, and it has over $6,000 in bonuses from 16 experts in their field, and you know most of them.
Yeah.
So I have a very special launch price because this is the first time that I'm launching it as a group program. And so for a few days only until April 21st at very strange time, 3 a.m. EST, that's because of the conversion in France, of course, there is a special price of $8.97, which for a 5 months program is just amazing. So, or 3 easy payments of $3.25. I also have a very special bonus because the first 20 people who will enroll in this program will get a one-on-one coaching session of 1 hour with me. So if you want to find out more, you can visit www.agnesvanrijn.com. Just click on the tab successfulwomenacademy.com and Successful Women Academy, and you will get more information. So Desha, again, thank you so much. I've enjoyed this. You're really fun to interview, and well, I hope that they will all be like that. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank
Goodbye.
you so
Bye.
much. Bye.